Wow, it's been a while. I'm not even gonna try and bother with the whole like, I'm gonna upload weekly because I don't know at this point. I'm just gonna upload whenever. I'm gonna start by saying hello. I'm Claire. I am a graphic design major with a minor in mass communications. I just completed my junior year of college and I'm back at home. I'm doing a internship at a botanical garden and I am definitely qualified to be giving life advice. I have never been that good at writing, which is funny because my minor is mass communications, but what I have found is for me, like, YouTube making videos has been a really good way for me to kind of like get out my feelings. So if anything, hopefully this video just comes across as like something to think about, you know? So if you did not read the title of this video and just clicked on it, I'm going to be talking about just kind of like my college experience, stuff that I've learned, stuff that I've found to be helpful if you are going to college or if you're planning on going or you're just curious what it is like. I feel like I've changed so much since when I first left for college, and like the stuff that I've changed in has been interesting. One thing that I feel like is important to like realize, and I feel like not enough people talk about it, is that everybody's experience with college is going to be different. I feel like a lot of times you'll see like these kind of videos on YouTube and look at them more as like this is how it's gonna go instead of like, oh, this is just one person's experience, my experience is gonna be completely different. But at the same time, there are, you know, things that everybody is gonna experience once in their life, if that makes sense. So I created a little list on my iPad and I'm just gonna kind of go through it. I feel like one of the very first things that I learned way back in freshman year was you can't do everything, so don't try to do everything, and don't like try to fit into every single group. So when I started college, I was very worried that I was gonna be this loser who had no friends, who nobody liked, who would just kind of like sit in a room all day and be emo. And I really didn't want that to be the case because I feel like growing up, I had always kind of felt like that. So I was like, I need to reinvent myself. So basically I would try and do as much as possible anytime there were people hanging out. And like freshman year, you're gonna go through so many friend groups and meet so many different people. And so instead of just kind of being like, okay, I'm just gonna like casually, you know, meet people, I was more like, I need to be best friends with everybody. Everybody needs to like me. You know, if two of my friends were doing something, I needed to be with them. And I would get really like jealous if like my friends would go off and do their thing and I wouldn't do it. I would always feel like really bad. And there were times when it wasn't because I was left out, it was because I was so exhausted because I'm an introvert, I'm not an extrovert. That was the main problem. I would just kind of like beat myself up over it because I'd be like, oh, I'm such a horrible person for, you know, being tired and needing alone time and I should go out and be with them. And so I'd kind of force myself, and that's not a good idea because when you're an introvert and you are used to having your alone time and you are forced to be around people, you get really annoying. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was like rude or like a jerk. I think it was more just like in my head I was getting like really frustrated with everything. I wasn't like taking it out on anybody, but it was like getting close. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you kind of have in your mind this idea that you need to do everything and be with everybody at all times, I feel like it's only going to end up like harming you because then you're gonna feel constantly left out when other people do other stuff. Obviously it's important to do stuff with other people and hang out with people and stuff like that in college. It's really important, but you need to know your limits, and it's okay like to tell people no, or be like, oh, I'm too tired, or like, it's okay. I feel like not enough people realize that like just because somebody says they're tired or like they don't feel like doing something doesn't mean that they're trying to be rude or like not wanting to do stuff. It just means that everybody is suffering in college and needs their rest. The next big thing that I learned, and I would highly recommend to everyone in any situation ever, not just college, is learn how to communicate. And when I say communicate, I don't just mean with your professors and, you know, like in a professional way. I mean with your friends too and your roommates. And basically what I mean by this is if you have a question, if there's something bothering you, if there's something you don't understand, just ask. Don't be afraid to, especially with professors. I found that like I've been doing bad in classes, and when I go and talk to the professor, at least it gets better. I feel like that way they kind of see then, even if you still do bad, they know that you're trying. It can be scary at first. You can feel kind of like, are they gonna think I'm stupid or something? They don't. Definitely like get to know your professor and go talk to them. And especially if you are like struggling in the class, go talk to them. And the same with friends and roommates. It's hard because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but there are times where if somebody is doing something that bothers you, instead of just kind of like ignoring it or like trying to just like, I don't know, like pretend it's not happening and just let it keep annoying you. Like if you just tell them like, hey, could we do something different? Or like, hey, we need to work with this out or like something, normally it can get fixed. Basically that's that. I think too, a little side note is that it can be hard when you are, you know, living with other people, especially friends, when there are like problems and you feel like you are responsible for making sure everyone is okay. And that is like totally, you know, normal. And I feel like everybody should be looking out for each other and you should be helping your friends. But at the same time, there are like things that happen and things you might go through that like you don't have the ability to help others with. Especially when it comes to stuff like mental health and that sort of thing. You can obviously be there for your friends, but if they are struggling with something, you know, they should obviously be going to see a therapist. Another thing that I found to be really helpful, at least for me in college, I find it very like calming and relaxing to kind of keep up with like shows and movies that I grew up watching, and just like hobbies that I used to have, just kind of stuff from like back in my like high school days. For instance, like watching Supernatural or Doctor Who or like stuff like that. It just kind of helps me like calm down and like, I don't know, I feel like especially when I was starting college, it was good to have those like things as kind of a way to just like bring me back home. That sounds really cringy, but I feel like that is definitely something that a lot of people can relate to. So those are just some of the many things that I have learned and found to be helpful. Like I said, obviously everyone's experience is going to be different. Please don't take this as like me trying to tell you what to do or what not to do. It's more just kind of like, this happened. Anyways, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want me to do more videos like this, please let me know. I am home for the summer, so I have a little bit more time to film. Yeah.